So this is one of my favorite diagnostic tools. It's called focal muscle vibration. I've written a couple of articles on it, and it comes from research from Belgium, where these really bright people figured out that if you oscillate a muscle at a very specific frequency, 60 cycles per second, with 0.5 millimeters displacement, you temporarily suppress information from muscle spindles. Muscle spindles are located inside of muscles. They tell your muscle where it is in space. They tell you how quickly it's lengthening. They are position sense fibers, basically. And you have them in every muscle. And when you're standing, let me have you cross your arms in front of you and close your eyes. And as Kim's eyes are closed, muscles in through here, the spindles are saying, hey, we're moving back and forth in this plane, so this is where we should be. Muscles down here, especially your soleus, is saying, hey, we're going backward and forward, and we want you to be balanced, so come back to this spot. So these researchers figured out that if you have impaired spindle activity, you're going to get hurt because muscles don't know where they are in space and they're more likely to be strained. So they put these little motors on the backs of people's calves. The first study, they took a large number of people who had low back pain and those who didn't, and using this test they were able to successfully distinguish between low back pain patients and non-low back pain patients. That's a big deal because MRIs don't do that, x-rays don't correlate well with back pain. But then they got funding to do even a larger study. They took asymptomatic people and did the test that I'm about to do in a second on people. They measured fear avoidance behavior, they measured posture, they measured a bunch of different things. They also measured how people swayed once these motors were placed on them, and then followed them for years. And they showed that people who had excessive posterior sway with this test were 4 times more likely to be injured within the next 2 years. So it predicts injuries. It's nice to know because it's easy to fix. You can prevent low back injuries with this 30-second test. They showed that muscle spindles exist in slow twitch fibers, and once a muscle's been damaged, it often has impaired circulation, sometimes from disuse, and you just give endurance exercises. Kim made a series of videos of the absolute best exercises to fix what happens if you sway inappropriately with this test. So to do the test, all you have to do is take these little motors, and they come with a Velcro back. You take the Velcro off the back of this, and I like to just take it, I place it over the soleus muscle, like this, and I'll put it so the white Velcro is out like that, and then I just give it a light little tug like that. I don't wrap the whole thing around because this is just quicker and easier. I do the same thing. It's important to put it over the soleus muscle because the soleus muscle has more spindles in it than any other muscle in the calf because it's almost 100% slow twitch fibers. So you just wrap it around like that, place it on, again the Velcro goes out, nice and easy. Now the motors are over the soleus muscle, and then I just have this battery pack just because if I travel with it. When I use it at the office, I just plug it into a wall. I don't use the battery pack. So to do the test, you're going to close your eyes, you're going to balance. Historically, I have used a laser gun and I measure sway as someone moves. And I don't tell the patient anything in advance prior to doing this. But what's going to happen when I turn these on is that the spindles are going to be temporarily suppressed. So they're going to send in a signal to the spinal cord saying, hey, we're lengthening here. So she's going to feel like she's falling forward. So to counter that, she'll lean backwards to counter that movement. But that's only if she isn't getting good core information from her spindles. So if everything's working right, you will ignore information from the spindles that are being suppressed here because these spindles would say, hey, we're fine, we're not falling forward. I don't know where you're getting that information from. So to do the test, close your eyes, balance, you just turn the motors on for 20 to 30 seconds. And I just look here to see. Again, I used to have a laser scanner, but it's very dramatic when you turn it off. So I've only had it on for 15 seconds. See, when I turn it off, she went forward. Kim has good core proprioception, so she only moved like 1.5 centimeters. I'm going to turn it on again. People with poor proprioception, let me have you exaggerate it. they'll come back like this. They'll come back so far their toes lift off the ground. This test takes 20 seconds to do, and it predicts future injury. You are 4 times more likely to be injured in the future. And I don't tell people what to expect before I do it, but I do occasionally just turn it on and off like this, because you get a sense of how the core proprioceptors are responding to the impaired information from the soleus. Super easy to do. You can also do this over, if you treat someone with a frozen shoulder, spindles regulate tension. You can just put the motors over their shoulder for a few minutes before you work on it, or any muscle that's really tight before you work on it, because if a muscle is seizing in response to pain, spindles are tightening, that can cause joint dysfunction, it can cause things to lock up. If you temporarily suppress that information, you can allow, produce a break in the pain cycle, which is really helpful. But I just use it primarily as a diagnostic tool and then for mobilizing stiff joints.